take me through this process, because before training camp started, this was a competition. This was Jarrett Stidham. This was Zach Wilson. And here's Bo Nix, the first round draft choice. Are we surprised at this? What were the, I guess, milestones that he hit in order to get this job?
Yeah, that's a great way to frame it, Kirk. I mean, this did start as a competition, but I think the biggest question was always just, will Bo Nix be ready? I think it was more about that than it really was whether Jarrett Stidham or Zach Wilson could really vie for that spot, because again, they drafted him 12th overall. He's the future of the position. And early on, first couple weeks of camp, I think Jarrett Stidham was probably the most consistent guy. He's the only one with a second year in the system under his belt. So he had that experience factor working for him. But over the last 2+ weeks, including both preseason games, it just became clear that something clicked for Bo Nix. This is a guy who at every level that he's ever played at has been an early starter. He started eighth grade varsity football as an eighth grader. He was a true freshman starting quarterback at Auburn, and now a week 1 starter for the Broncos. It just clicked for him. And the performances in the preseason games the last 2 weeks really illustrated how much things had started to become a lot more comfortable and allowed his talent to kind of to show out.
Nick, I love what you said about this. It turned from a competition to a coronation. Explain that. Like, what did you see from him? How did he take this job in front of basically fans and a couple preseason games that it was like, wait, this isn't a competition anymore. This dude is already the guy.
Yeah, I think ever since that game in Indianapolis on August 11th, when he went out there, Jarrett Stidham played the first 2 drives. Nix then came out and on his first kind of big pass, 3rd and 10, his first 2 had been incomplete. He rolls out and finds Cortland Sutton on the sideline for a 22-yard gain. And from there, it was just the efficiency, Kirk, that stood out. He led 7 drives in the preseason. 6 of those led to scores, 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals. The only drive that didn't lead to a score was when he completed a pass to his tight end, Lucas Kroll, who then fumbled the ball, ending the drive after 1 play. Essentially, every time he's had the ball with a real drive, he's led them to scores, and all those drives started on Denver's own side of on the field. So it was just the ability to take over and to guide that offense. You just said, okay, yeah, this is a guy who, again, started 61 college games. He's been playing. People know Bo Nix. He's been playing football forever, and there was the early adjustment. I think some of the speed, and that will continue to occur. He's not played really top string defenses at this point. Hasn't faced any of the NFL's real premier pass rushers. There's going to be some of those challenges, and there will have to be kind of a readjustment. But it was just clear then, and it has only continued to grow over the last couple of weeks, that it was a matter of when, not if, he was going to be announced as a starter.
Broncos beat writer for The Athletic, Nick Kosmider, joining the Rich Eisen Show. Kirk Morrison here filling in for Rich. Nick, I want to sort of take a look at the Broncos organization as a whole right quick, because Russell Wilson came there and he was coming to save the Denver Broncos. After 2 years, he's now gone. And now they've got a new starting quarterback in Bo Nix. What's the fan base? What's the organization? What's the now feel like? Are they still thinking about Russ and the $85 million that they owe him? Or is it now people are starting to see this new vision of Sean Payton and George Payton, the general manager?
Yeah, it's a great question. This is an organization that has been searching for an answer, a permanent answer at quarterback since Peyton Manning retired. Mm-hmm. This is going to be, Bo Nix will become the 7th different week 1 starter for the Broncos in the last 9 seasons. They have cycled through quarterbacks. You could go down the list: Trevor Siemian, Joe Flacco, Case Keenum, Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, Brett Rippett. I mean, the list goes on and on. Paxton Lynch. They had a game in 2020 in which they didn't have a quarterback, and their game got started by Philip Lindsay.
Hold on, what's my man name? Was it Hinton? Who was it?
Kendall Hinton.
Kendall Hinton. There we go.
Yeah.
Kendall Hinton. Didn't they tell him like the night before, like in the hotel, like, hey son, due to this COVID situation thing, hey man, you're starting. He was like, I ain't played quarterback since high school. What are we doing?
His agent. I talked to Kendall Hinton's agent that night, and he thought when Kendall called him, he was going to tell him, hey, I'm getting elevated for this game, because he was a wide receiver at the time.
Right.
I'm getting elevated for this game. Maybe he's going to get to play on special teams. And then, Kendall, says, yeah, I'm calling you, but it's not because of what you think. So that's part of the lure of this, this just kind of cycle in which they have not been able to figure that position out. And as you well know, when you don't have that position figured out in the NFL, you have very little chance to create consistent culture, consistent success. And so I think this fan base, it's the first round pick that they've drafted since Paxton Lynch, who obviously just wasn't cut out for the NFL. And Nix, it feels different. I think fans, there was a wait and see, I think, component to this in terms of, what's he going to look like and all those sorts of things. But over the last 2 weeks, especially Sunday when he was near perfect in his performance against the Packers, the Bo show is now in full effect in Denver. Like, people are ready to get behind this, especially Sean Payton, knowing that this is the quarterback that he wanted, that he now has a chance to implement his system with. There's a lot of optimism, even if there's some reality that this is still going to take some time. They still have a lot of work to do with this roster. I think there's excitement that there seems to be kind of a clear vision that hasn't always been around ever since Peyton Manning retired.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.